So I'm here with the core of Glasgow City media team for a quick catch up ahead of our first game for the new 2020-21 season against Celtic this weekend. So I'm joined by Callum Patson, Craig Edwards and Stephen Bark. So finally the season is here. How does it feel heading to a game this weekend after months away? Craig, we'll start with you.
It's exciting. It's finally good to be back. Something to look forward to on a Sunday, and I think it's obviously interesting. A lot has happened since that one game of the now voided season. So obviously we did have that wee bit of Champions League action a couple of months ago, but again that's been a wee bit of a break. So it's exciting to get back into it.
Yeah, so obviously the season was cancelled in March, and we've just had the two games at the Champions League. Do you think having those extra games and training sessions will help City in these early games, Stephen?
Never know. Hopefully they'll be ready for it. But anyway, you can never get too much preparation sometimes for these kind of things. One thing I'm looking forward to really is seeing how the new signings blood into the team and how they fit around the existing players and the experience that they've got, and hopefully, I mean, there are some exciting names in there, so it could be quite good.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously this season, City will be playing their home games at Broadwood Stadium. Callum, do you think Petershill Park's going to be missed?
I think it will be because of that tight knit, and I think the players really enjoyed it when they went back to Petershill after the spell at the Excelsior Stadium. So I think they will enjoy or they will miss that aspect. Obviously, we'll miss fans anyway. But there's good memories at Broadwood. You know, City played there last year in the SWPL Cup semi-final. And they have history of winning cup competitions there. The Scottish Cup in 2013 and 2014 come to mind. So good memories there. As I say, shame there's not many fans there, but they've got experience playing that pitch, experience of winning on that pitch, big games. So I think with the fact they've not played hardly any football for the best part of a year, let's say, I think they'll just be like to play football, and they'll just make it their home for the next few months probably ahead.
Yeah, so Craig, obviously, as Callum just mentioned there's not going to be any fans this season. You've had a bit of experience with that, heading over to Bilbao. Do you think it's going to be a bit of a weird atmosphere this year?
It'll be weird to start with, definitely. Obviously, City have had a game experience of it in the Champions League. But I think after one or two games, the players are very professional. I think after a couple of games, they'll just get used to it, and I think that's what they've kind of got to do now. Is look, we can't have fans, sadly, so you can either kind of go one way or the other. And I think all these players and all the SWPL clubs are professional enough to not really. Obviously, they'll miss not having the fans, but they'll know they'll be watching it either on TV or they'll be keeping up to date on social media and everything. So they know the fans are still there, even if they're not physically there. So I don't think it'll take maybe a game or two just to get used to not actually having any fan noise. But after a couple of games, I don't think it'll affect them too much.
Yeah, absolutely. So City's first 7 games, out of them, 5 of them will be at home. Do you think this will weigh in their favour, Stephen?
You hope so, because it's the home games, it's the games that you want to go and win. It might be a bit different because it's at Broadwood. Hopefully there's no sort of bedding in period where they take their time to find their feet and whatever. If it was at Petershill, you wouldn't have to worry about that. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, when you've got that many home games, you want to make your mark early.
Yeah, and so over the summer, City obviously brought in quite a few new players. We saw a few in action at the Champions League. Callum, who do you think are the ones to watch?
Well, I know for City fans, there's been plenty that have been talked about. I mean, there's still one or two you think of, like Lauren Wade and Maddie Fulton. I remember speaking to Maddie Fulton back in December when Glasgow City signed her, thinking about the season ahead. She'd hardly played much in the 2 or 3 months before that when I spoke to her because of the way the season finished in Iceland. And then she, got one game and you're off again for a number of months. She missed the Champions League game. So Lauren Wade came in at that time as well. It's still a new signing, even though they've been at the club for a number of months. So I think the one player that I think a lot of the signings on paper look really, really good. I think the one player I really was impressed with in the Champions League game was Annette Wine. I thought she did really well in that fullback role. Against tough opposition. I think she'll get a bit of freedom in the SWPL. So I think she's one that I think quite exciting. But I think on paper we'll have to wait and see how the others that have came into the country. And I'm been training for a few months, so we'll see how they adapt to the league, which obviously became a bit more cosmopolitan, shall we say, across the board, which will be interesting. So. And even like Lauren Davidson coming back to the club, she was a City Academy player. I went and applied a bit of trade at the first team level in SWPL 1 with Hibs. So we good to see and interesting to see her chance. I think Tyler Toland as well. I could mention all the signings really, to be honest, but on paper they all look decent. But there's a couple of few that I picked out anyway.
So Celtic for the first game of the season again. Obviously not the results that you wanted the first time around, but with the season null and void, it's a clean slate. Do you think this will be a different game this time around, Craig?
Well, hopefully it's slightly drier than last time. I think that's what everyone will be hoping for, because February, obviously, I don't know how much you really can read into that. The conditions that night were atrocious, and it wasn't great for either team. Obviously, it's the same for both teams, but it was tough for both sides because the conditions kind of nullified them. They're both very good footballing sides, and they couldn't play football in those conditions. So I don't think the February game really matters much, because I don't think even, obviously Celtic won it late on, but I think they'll look at they can play a lot better than that, and City know they can play a lot better. So I think it'll be a lot different game on Sunday, and I think it'll be a much better game for the spectators on Alba, as long as the conditions as long as they're not nearly as bad as they were back in February. It'll be a much better game, because these are two very good clubs that like to play football and know how to play good football. And obviously we didn't really get to see that in February because of the weather. So hopefully the weather plays its part and is a bit kinder to us, and we can actually get treated to a really good spectacle, because these two teams really can play good football. We've seen great City Celtic games in the past. Ones that come to mind, the 3-2 back in 2018. We had the 2-1 last season at Lennox Town. And yeah, Celtic obviously won in February, and they won at the end of last season as well. So they've got a lot of momentum. But City at home, Celtic still haven't beaten City at home for years. That's the next step for them. And I think City know Celtics are going to be a challenger this year, so they want to lay that marker down pretty quickly. So I think it's going to be a really fascinating game. And
Stephen, do you think Celtic will come into this feeling confident?
As much as we had those games in February, so much has changed since then. So for every team, I think there's reasons to be positive. There's reasons to be looking forward to this. Glasgow City and Celtic will be the same. I mean, two of the top three teams from last season. It's one of the biggest games of this season probably, and it's the first game of the season. So it's something for everyone to look forward to, and it's right off from the start as well.
Yeah, definitely. So with games behind closed doors for now, I'm sure City fans want to know how they can catch the game or follow along. Callum, can you give us a quick rundown on the coverage for this weekend's game and where else fans can follow along for the rest of the season?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously many will know. If you don't know yet, then the game's live on TV, which is good on Sunday, BBC Alba, with their commitment to the league. So the game on Sunday, 4:10 on BBC Alba, so you can watch it there. Craig will be busy doing the live tweets, and Stephen will be doing a match report. We'll be doing highlights as usual, despite as the times we have at the moment with distancing and the like. We've got less, or all grounds are allowed less people in, so in terms of media and whatnot. So we're still bringing highlights and clips and reaction, and we've got preview content out as well ahead of it. So, and that'll be the kind of the norm. We'll have a preview interview out every week before games, and our website's better this year, bigger and better. We've got more content. Everyone, I think, here involved with that content, so that's good. And I think I've covered around the new programme as well for Matchday, which everyone's involved with. So loads covering this game and beyond as well. Even when the fans are allowed back, we'll still be doing the same as usual.
So this weekend marks the start of a new winter season at a new stadium with plenty of new players, lovely new kits and no fans, so it's certainly going to be an interesting one, and hope all the fans are as excited as we are to get started. And as Callum mentioned, be sure to watch this weekend's game on BBC Alba and follow along on Twitter.